During this time of the year, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the season. May we not lose sight of what Christmas is really all about. It's Jesus' birthday, and here. During this time of the year, it's easy to get caught up in the hustle and bustle of the season. May we not lose sight of what Christmas is really all about. It's Jesus' birthday, and He's the only one that can bring love, joy, and true peace to the world. From us at Sponsors of Hope, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a blessed New Year.
Hello and welcome to today's news bulletin here on Luntha television. My name is Bernard Manza. First, the headlines.
Pope Francis meets with Israel hostages freed from Gaza. President Lazarus Chakwera mentions faith as key in the fight against corruption. And Senate gives Minister of Energy Ibrahim Matola 7 days to resolve the ongoing fuel crisis.
We now give you the news in detail. After enduring months in captivity in Gaza, a group of Israel hostages abducted by Hamas on October 7, 2023, were received by Pope Francis in the Vatican. 16 people, 10 women, 4 men, and 2 children attended the meeting. One of the attendees presented the Pope with a football shirt bearing the name of Tao Shoham, a family member taken hostage alongside his wife, children, mother-in-law, and other relatives. Some of them were later released as part of a temporary ceasefire deal brokered by Qatar, Egypt, and the United States. We have the Vatican News report compiled by Salvatore Senuzio, but read in our studios by Tandiwe Mzumara.
Several participants held signs displaying the faces and names of their missing or captive family members with inscriptions such as "Bring him home." Pope Francis touched each image as a gesture of blessing and paused in silent prayer. The Israeli embassy to the Holy See described the encounter as moving, adding that it showed the Pope's closeness to the victims of that horrible day and his commitment to their release. Since the October 7th attacks, Pope Francis has consistently used his public addresses to call for the urgent release of hostages taken in the assault, urging a ceasefire in Gaza and humanitarian access to those affected. He has emphasized these actions as necessary steps toward resolving the devastating conflict, which erupted after the Hamas-led attack that resulted in over 1,100 deaths and the kidnapping of 240 people, including women, the elderly, and children. Earlier in the year, on April 8th, Pope Francis met with relatives of Israeli hostages held by Hamas. On November 22, 2023, he received both the families of Israeli hostages and a delegation of Palestinians with loved ones suffering amid the ongoing violence and humanitarian crisis in Gaza. According to the latest figures from Gaza's health ministry, over 43,700 casualties have resulted from relentless Israeli strikes.
The inter-party hearing on an application of an order to set aside a prohibition of conducting peaceful demonstrations on 13th November 2024 has been adjourned to 29th this month. Stan Chira, who is the lawyer for the opposition political parties who wanted to protest, and Attorney General Chamber lawyers have confirmed the adjournment, saying it is for the purposes of giving a chance to the Attorney General lawyers to respond to the application. Robert Edward reports.
On 13th November 2024, the highly billed demonstrations against use of Smartmatic election management system, among others, failed following a letter from District Commissioner for Lilongwe, Dr. Lofodi Barani, prohibiting the pressing their right, citing police's tight schedules. This irked the protesters, who rushed to court to apply for an order to set aside the DC's prohibition, which the High Court Judge W. Nsiska set Friday to hear both parties. However, in our following up of the matter, Attorney General Chambers' lawyer told us that the matter has been adjourned to 29th November for the inter-party hearing to give chance to the Attorney General to respond to the application. On Wednesday, thugs carrying machetes and other sharp objects and rushed terror on people in the capital who wanted to patronize the demos, including the journalists. For Luntha, this is Robert Edward.
President Dr. Lazarus Chakwera has stressed the importance of faith in guiding decision-making and leadership. Chakwera has made the remarks earlier today when he presided the 12th congregation of the Malawi Assemblies of God University, MAGU, at Bingwa Mtarika International Convention Center in the capital, Lilongwe. In his address to the graduating students, Dr. Chakwera noted the need for spiritual empowerment to resist worldly temptations, noting that education alone cannot guarantee resistance to corruption. Tandiwe Mzumara reports.
In his address, President Chakwera praised MAGU for its unique combination of academic excellence and spiritual development, a rare approach in higher education. He encouraged graduates to carry both their knowledge and faith as they move forward in their careers. In his remarks, Reverend Benito Shisamba, Chancellor of MAGU, congratulated the graduates and highlighted the essential role President Chakwera played during the establishment of the university. He encouraged the graduates to see their degree as the beginning of their journey, urging them to embrace the next phase of life, which is application of their knowledge. The graduation was held under the theme Empowering Tomorrow's Leaders, Innovate, Lead, and Inspire. The private university has awarded diplomas, degrees, and PhDs to about 358 graduates in different faculties. For Luntha News, this is Tandiwe Mzumara.
The Center for Democracy and Economic Development Initiatives, CEDED, has issued a firm warning to the Minister of Energy, Ibrahim Matola, to resolve the ongoing fuel crisis in Malawi within 7 days or face consequences. In a statement dated November 12, 2024, signed by its Executive Director Sylvester Namiwa, CEDED says the imbalance on the supply and demand for fuel has a negative impact on the health and welfare of consumers and economy of the country.
CEDED plans to hold vigils at the Ministry of Energy offices at Capitol Hill in Lilongwe until the crisis is resolved or until the Energy Minister quits. In an interview with Luntha, Namiwa says public officials are elected to save the people and are paid using taxpayers' money.
What started like an imbalance between supply and demand of fuel has culminated into a fully blown crisis.
CEDED has vowed to continue speaking for Malawians and will closely follow the fuel crisis issue until the situation normalizes or the Minister of Energy distribution and utilization of the liquid fuels and gas in the country. Efforts to reach to the Minister of Energy for a comment were unsuccessful as his phone was unavailable. For Luntha News, this is Emmanuel Juocha.
Well, you're watching our Friday's News Bulletin here on Luntha Television, and we are broadcasting from the Bishop Navy Media Center in the capital, Lilongwe. Here's a reminder of our top stories before we progress.
Pope Francis meets with Israel hostages freed from Gaza. President Lazarus Chakwera mentions faith as key in the fight against corruption. And CEDED gives Minister of Energy Ibrahim Matola 7 days to resolve the ongoing fuel crisis.
Welcome back, and you're with me, Bernard Manza. Moving on, First Lady Madame Monica Chavera is expected to host a high-level breakfast on amplifying the missing voices on ending tuberculosis in Malawi at Camus Palace on Monday, 18th November 2024. Chief Advisor to the First Lady, Michael Mkandawire, has disclosed this at a press briefing held in Lilongwe earlier today. He said the First Lady seeks to use their platform to connect with TB survivors, offering support and encouraging them to share their experiences as they are often marginalized. Our reporter Falis Chizombe has filed a report which is being read in our studios by Roderick Kwani.
Mkandawire stated that the breakfast will be held on the sidelines of a Global Fund meeting that will take place in the country next week. He went on to mention that Madam Chakwera intends to use the platform to connect with TB survivors, offer support and encouraging them to share their experiences as they are often isolated.
So Her Excellency is inviting, I would say, a representation of different players. Of course, the Global Fund board members that will be in the country as a side event, so we're pulling together these particular people. We are also bringing those that are the lead in terms of the TB fund. Not only those, I've already talked about those survivors, those that are volunteers in the community.
In her remarks, Mara Kumbweza-Banda, technical advisor for Paradise Trust, stated that she is unhappy with the progress of fighting TB in the country, as TB survivors are not able to disclose their status to others in the community.
Indeed, it is the first of its kind, and we are very honored as TB survivors to be a part of this auspicious occasion. For us, we want to take an advantage to make a statement about what's happening in the country and also bring up what the issues that are affecting us in the response.
The most underfunded area, citing that HIV and AIDS has a lot of funders, and she wishes the same for tuberculosis.
I think we have been affected with the long time frame that has taken for us to eradicate TB, to believe that we no longer need funding for TB. But if you look at the mortality rates for TB, that would actually make you believe that we need more effort to ensure that we have funding for TB.
The First Lady became the ambassador for ending TB in Malawi and the SADC region in September 2023. TB is the second infectious disease that affects and kills millions of people across the globe on an annual basis. There are efforts underway to ensure the disease ends come 2030.
Roderick Kwande reading a report filed by Falis Chizombe. Meanwhile, the Office of the First Lady has called for concerted efforts in consolidating resources that will help support those in their need in the country. Chief Advisor to the First Lady, Michael Mkandawire, made the remarks on Thursday in Nkhotakota District when he donated relief food items on behalf of the First Lady to flood survivors that struck Nkhotakota early last year. We have a report.
Mkandawire stated that the donation is as a result of a call for the help by President Chakwera because of various disasters that affected the nation. He said it is fulfillment of the First Lady's pledge to help communities with food and ensure such households participate in development projects in communities.
What we are presenting today on behalf of Her Excellency, this is food that she was able to source. We have 45 tons of flour and also 5 tons of beans that we are giving out to the people of this particular area.
Nkhotakota District Commissioner Ben Matengenitono thanked the First Lady for the support and emphasized that all households they targeted will benefit from the donation.
We have done a lot of sensitization around our communities with regards to disaster-prone areas, also regards to the fields that can be affected when we have the flooding. So we have had several dissemination meetings.
Member of Parliament for Nkhotakota North East, Overstone Kondowe, asked other stakeholders to help with agricultural equipment for the community to be vibrant.
I'm delighted today because we extended our call to the general public, well-wishers, and even government ministries to help those who were displaced because of the floods that we experienced last year.
One of the beneficiaries from Nsenjere, Aida Banda, expressed gratitude for the donation, saying it has been a relief to her family. The donation is part of the support by the Embassy of the People's Republic of China to the First Lady's Shaping Our Future Foundation. The distributed items include 45 tons of maize flour and 4 tons of red beans, worth 70.7 million kwacha. Over 14,000 people were displaced by the floods that hit Nkorakoda area this year due to heavy rains and water rising levels on Lake Malawi.
That report was compiled by Charity Chilanga but was read in our studios by Roderick Kwani. Now, in our last item, the Norwegian Church Aid NCA and Danish Church Aid DCA Joint Country Program eyes sustainability on its course to improve the quality of early childhood development in the country. The organization's nutritionist from Chinchi District, DSG Kalima, has made the remarks today during the first ever graduation ceremony of caregivers under Outcome 2 of the NCA-DCA Sustainable Food Systems for Rural Agricultural Transformation and Resilience Transform project. The event took place in Mchinji District at one of the organization's operation site. From Mchinji, here's Helbert Katanda.
NCA-DCA Joint Country Program's nutritionist Tieze Kalima was reacting to concerns that most caregivers in the country are pulling out due to lack of financial support. She said as a way of ensuring sustainability, they have introduced a 15,000 kwacha honorarium for their designated caregivers who have been deployed in their respective areas within the districts of Rompi and Mchinji. Kalima said this would complement already existing government efforts in line with the 2063 agenda.
Indeed, there's this challenge that most of the caregivers, after they have been trained, sometimes they would drop out. But with NCA-DCA, we are supporting these ECD centers with the honorarium, which they receive every month. That is, they are receiving 15,000 a month. So all the caregivers in all the 42 ECD centers are receiving this amount of money. And not only that, as I said earlier on, to say that we have provided them with drip kits. So these drip kits are used for vegetable gardens. So it acts as a way of a source of food, which to complement the meals at the ECD centers. And another thing is it acts as an income-generating activity, to say that if they have excess vegetables in the gardens, they can be able to sell that, and that could be a source of money for them.
In an interview, Mchinji District Director of Economic Planning and Development, Martin Pindamkono, said government is aware of the financial challenges that these caregivers face, but was working to rectify them. He said that the country has over 3,000 caregivers who are certified, and of these, only 2,000 caregivers have started being given honorarium.